California high-speed rail has sucked up a lot of money, and it's still sucking. But perhaps you don't know about the current and future benefits of this system. In this video, I'll tell you about the major benefits that have been already completed up and down the state, and also about the future benefits coming. Hello, I'm Frank Kenny with Living. And today we're going to talk about the current and future benefits of California's high-speed rail. And since I'm an avid railroad buff, I know there are a lot of positives about the high-speed rail, or HSR for short, that you don't hear in all the negative media. I'm going to point out some of the serious current and future positives about the California high-speed rail that you may not know. Before I start, I want to let you know, obviously this isn't about real estate, but that most of this video is based on a very good article in a magazine I love. The magazine is called Passenger Train Journal, and this article by Kevin McKinney is in the 2025-4 issue number 305. This article was so good that I just had to do a video about it. I strongly recommend the Passenger Train Journal for everyone who is interested in passenger trains here in the USA, as well as around the world, both now and in the past, as well as trains in the future. I'll put a link below for White River Productions so you can subscribe to the magazine if you wish. Now, if you thought California high-speed rail was just a quick build a right-of-way for passenger trains, you thought wrong. There's much more to it, and many of the HSR benefits have already been completed and are being used at this time now. This is money spent for real benefits today. As McKinney writes, it is impossible to write a commentary about California's massive and seemingly endless high-speed rail project without admitting it's been disappointing. What officially started in 2008 with a projected budget of $33 billion with a B and a target start date of 2020 is now projected to cost 4 times as much for the entire system and is 5 years away from startup, and then only in the San Joaquin Valley. How many high-speed miles has China implemented since 2008? The answer is more than 28,000. It was also in 2008 that China's first dedicated high-speed rail route, 73 miles between Beijing and Tianjin, opened. Now, during the 17 years since 2008, numerous high-speed lines have been started in Europe, where, unlike China, consideration must be given to property rights. In addition, numerous massive European tunnel projects linked to high-speed rail have been completed or are underway. This includes the Lochberg Base Tunnel, actually completed in 2007, and the Gotthard Base Tunnel in 2016, both in Switzerland, and the population there is 9 million. The Gotthard Tunnel base took 17 years to build. The Caltrain Tunnel was completed in Austria in 2022. The 34-mile Brenner Base Tunnel will link Austria and Italy by 2032. Preliminary work was started in 2007 and given a green light in 2009. The Follo line in Norway, a 22-kilometer double-track line, mostly a tunnel, opened in 2022. London's 73-mile crossrail, the Elizabeth line, was completed in 2022. The Elizabeth line took 13 years to build. And many other high-speed rail lines that have opened in Spain, Italy, and elsewhere on the continent involve the construction of multiple tunnels. 2 other notable tunnel projects underway are the Fehmarnbelt Tunnel under the Baltic Sea between Denmark and Germany, and the Lyon to Turin Tunnel between France and Italy. Keep in mind, however, that societies that must consider property rights and the environment, unlike China, do not build tunnels, bridges, and high-speed rail overnight. Okay, what are the benefits of California high-speed rail? Well, with the seemingly slow progress in California and now the attacks from Washington, including withdrawing $4 billion in previously committed funds, even some high-speed rail advocates may be tempted to abandon hope and admit defeat. However, defeat should not be an option. Instead, now is the time to review and publicize what has been accomplished and promote the benefits that California high-speed rail will eventually bring, and take stock of what California would face without completing the project. It is also time to analyze the problems and mistakes encountered in the California effort and determine how high-speed rail projects in California and other parts of the United States, as well as in Canada, can be completed in far less time and without strained budgets. It would seem that Ian Chowdhury, CEO of California High-Speed Rail since August of 2024, is thinking along these very lines. Chowdhury's background includes more than 30 years of experience working on major projects in 18 countries, including high-speed rail in Spain and France. His experience in the United States includes the Dulles Airport WMATA line in Washington, D.C., and more recently a proposed link between Ontario Airport and Brightline West's future in Rancho Cucamonga Station in Southern California. Chowdhury is currently planning to accelerate construction, that is, build faster and lay track sooner, is the objective according to a 2025 project update, and bring in private sector funding. One example, tech companies are interested in tapping into the high-speed rail power grid, which is based on renewable energy, in order to power consuming centers in the Fresno area. Now, after federal high-speed funds were recently canceled, his response to DOT Secretary Duffy included some of the high-speed rail accomplishments to date and the economic benefits the construction has provided. There have been to date 14,700 jobs created, $22.6 billion in economic impact, and participation by 860 small businesses. There's also been regional investments and progress. In Northern California, for example, $714 million from high-speed rail was combined with $1.7 billion from other local, state, and federal sources to upgrade and electrify Caltrain's line between San Jose and San Francisco, which future high-speed trains will use. Caltrain's popular electrification has substantially increased ridership. A future extension of Caltrain and high-speed rail into the Surface Transit Center in downtown San Francisco will link with multiple transit systems and create benefits for rail and non-rail users. A grade crossing separation in San Mateo on the Caltrain line benefited from $84 million in high-speed rail funds that leveraged $122 million from local, state, and federal sources. Now in Southern California, $77 million from high-speed rail enabled a $156 million upgrade crossing elimination project at Rosecrans Avenue in Santa Fe Springs, benefiting Los Angeles Metro area drivers and eventually benefiting high-speed rail. A $423 million investment by the authority will leverage an additional $527 million for Link US, a project that will turn Los Angeles Union Terminal into a run-through facility benefiting Metrolink commuter trains and Amtrak well before high-speed trains arrive in Los Angeles. In the Central Valley, high-speed rail's current focus is on the Initial Operating System, or IOS, and that is the 171 miles between Bakersfield, Fresno, Madera, and Merced. Sistra TIPSA, a consortium of 2 engineering firms, has been working for more than a year on the line's design and overhead contact systems. A railhead is being established in Bakersfield to receive ties, tracks, catenary supports, and other materials that are shipped in by rail, with track laying beginning next year. In the valley, 18 grade crossing separations have been completed and 10 are underway, including a new 402-foot long 4-lane road over existing railroad tracks and the future high-speed rail right-of-way. In another accomplishment, nearly the entire line from the Bay Area to Los Angeles, 463 miles, has already received environmental clearance. Now that's not a small achievement in California, an environmentally sensitive state where many projects take longer than initially anticipated. Now there are other future benefits and alternatives, and the most obvious is green. High-speed rail in California will be electrified and will shift travel from cars and airplanes to rail, just as it has in Europe and other industrialized countries. Look at the success of Brightline in Florida, which is just a mix of higher speed and conventional rail. Now, if California's high-speed rail is abandoned at this point, the state instead will have to consider how to accommodate future highway and airway growth. Airports. Anyone who knows California realizes there is no convenient way or location to put a new airport in the San Francisco, San Jose, Sacramento, Los Angeles, or San Diego urban areas, and very few options when it comes to expanding with more runways. Airport terminals are being expanded, but the taxiways and runways can't grow, which will ultimately limit airport growth, as will the inability to obtain enough air traffic controllers. When interstate air schedules are sharply reduced, as they have been with short-haul flights in Europe, more airport and airway capacity will open up for long-distance and international flights, which are more lucrative for airlines and are projected to grow. California is about tapped out when it comes to airport growth. And highways. Just imagine a Texas-style expansion of Interstate 5, or worse yet, expanding California Highway 99 into an interstate design road, or doing anything expansive with Highway 101 closer to the Pacific Ocean and a good deal of extremely valuable real estate. One gets a headache just thinking about the prospect, let alone the cost. And we are about tapped out with those options too. Even if you widen the 99 and the 5 in the valley, they will still be lane restricted due to lack of space in the metropolitan areas, and thus there is no real benefit to expanding those roadways. How about a suggestion? Here's an idea that might make high-speed rail more relevant and sooner. It is offered here without engineering or environmental analysis. Even the authority admits that the Merced to Bakersfield initial operating system, while a critical first step, is not serving a market anywhere near the size of the system that will link San Francisco, San Jose, and Los Angeles, with extensions that will eventually serve Sacramento and San Diego. Accordingly to authority projections, the initial line will not even cover direct operating costs. Although Fresno and Bakersfield are larger than most people might think, with populations of 1.2 million and 900,000 respectively, linking them to a larger anchor would be most helpful for ridership growth. That anchor would be Sacramento, the state capital and 6th largest California urban area at 2.4 million metro population. There would be far more ridership if a through Bakersfield to Sacramento service could be established ahead of schedule. At Sacramento, convenient connections would be possible with the frequent Capital Corridor trains that are operating west to Davis, Emeryville, Oakland, and San Jose. Better yet, dual-mode trains operating on their own could supplement the Capital Corridor schedules and eliminate a change of trains at Sacramento. Imagine finally high-speed trains arriving in the Bay Area years ahead of time, even if only part of the journey is an official high-speed line. How to do it? First, invest in capital improvements on the existing 113-mile rail line between Merced and Sacramento for at least 90-mile-per-hour operation. This would include some new double-track, secure grade crossings, and whatever else it might take to mix fast, not even higher-speed trains with freight trains. Number 2, invest soon enough in dual-mode train sets to provide sufficient frequencies between Bakersfield and Sacramento or beyond to the Bay Area. The dual modes will eventually come in handy at other locations as well, or if there are electrical system problems on electrified lines, so it would be a good investment. California High-Speed Rail proposes 8 round trips initially between Bakersfield and Merced. As many of these as possible, but at least half should continue beyond Merced to Sacramento and ideally the Bay Area. Build faster and lay track sooner is a great objective. Getting high-speed equipment into the Sacramento and Bay Area markets before it is expected to arrive on high-speed tracks would seem to fit nicely with that goal, and it would generate revenue and enthusiasm earlier than planned. So what's the bottom line here? Well, it's clear we can't add airports and roadways. And widening the 2 major roadways we have now, the 5 and the 99, would not work to any benefit because they will simply be funneled and restricted in the metropolitan areas. That leaves rail transportation, and that is a very viable option. Much of the benefits of the California high-speed rail has already been gained, but investments in various areas of the state, not including high-speed rail right away, being built. The California population is simply going to keep increasing, so traffic isn't going to get better, and there are only so many airplanes that can be put into the air. Rail is simply the best option for the California future. And these are my thoughts. What are yours? Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot of great information that just isn't delivered by the mainstream media. Probably because it's not bad news, but it's good news, and who wants to hear about good news, right? Well, once again, the magazine is called Passenger Train Journal, and this article by Kevin McKinney is in the 2025-4 issue number 305. I strongly recommend the Passenger Train Journal for everyone who is interested in passenger trains here in the USA as well as around the world, both now, in the past, as well as trains in the future. I'll put a link to White River Productions below so you can subscribe to the magazine if you wish. I have no financial interest in White River Productions. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you're guaranteed to get all of our current helpful videos, and please feel free to share these useful videos with your family and friends. Well, this is Frank Kenny with Living